Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's Kelly, the Sunshine Crafter. With this video here, I'm going to be using Trinity Stamps Marshmallow Alpha dies. I am a huge fan of alpha dies. I use them all the time, and I love having as many as I can get my hands on. With that being said, I also want to show you in this set there is a heart, a star, an ampersand, a comma, an exclamation point. These can all be added to your sentiments to make a huge bold statement on your card. So, and they can also be used to replace like an O or an A. You can use the designs for that. Okay, now this is a sentiment set, and it's called a sentiment for almost everything. And it literally has a sentiment for almost everything. I'm going to be using that, and I'm also going to be using one of the bunnies from the Dust Bunny set. I mean, isn't this the cutest set you've ever seen? My gosh, how cute are these little bunnies? So I'm using that little guy on the top right and the coordinating die. I cut him out quick. I did that off screen. And the products I'm using will be linked below if you're interested, just in case. And here I'm using some delicate tape. It's a painter's tape. I use this all the time, and I just put it on my arm to remove some of the tack. And I'm using some vintage photo to make my floor, to ground my little bunny. I just want to say that this card is for my daughter's 12th birthday. She is going to be 12, and I cannot believe it. Okay, back to the card real quick. I'm also using Trinity Stamps Polka Dot Stencil. This is another great item to have in your stash. It can be used in so many ways, and I'm using some very light ink just to add a little bit of polka dots to the background panel, just for a little more interest. Unfortunately, in the photos and in the video, it's a little hard to see because I wanted it to be very faint, but in real life you can see the polka dots on the card. Now here I'm just using some Copics to do some quick coloring, nothing fancy, a little stippling to make the bunny look a little more textury. Is that a word? Textury? I don't know, but I'm using it. I'm going with it. And now I made this card in kind of semi-neutral colors because my daughter is going through an anti-pink stage where I used to use girly colors and pink and purples, and now she's kind of, I don't want to say tomboy, but she's not really into the bright colors like she was when she was little. Oh, the times are changing. It's so sad. Okay, back to the bunny. So I'm just adding a little bit of colors, and I also used my vintage photo to create I didn't have the matching cardstock, so I just did some ink blending on a panel to put under my panel to create a brown border to coordinate with my floor. So I'm just adding this on my A2 card base. Now I'm going to go ahead and use these colors: Scattered Straw, Worn Lipstick, Dusty Concord, and Chipped Sapphire. I'm going to blend those together. I added a bit of tape to the back of my letters to hold them in place. You could also blend and then die cut, but then my plates get messy. They get the ink on them, so this was easy enough to do and less mess. So I'm going to go through real quick here. I'm also going to show you that I made these letters into balloons by using a star to create the points for the little, where the balloon ties go. So here I'm just embossing that, and again I'm going to change directions here. You'll see later on in the card I wind up putting a sentiment on top of it to coordinate more with the colors of my daughter's, the letters in her name. So I just want to show you, those are the points of the, I cut them off, and I realized I should have glued them onto the letters before I stacked them 4 high. So if I would have thought ahead, I would have realized that and caught that mistake. So what I did was I pulled up the inked piece, the top layer, the letter. I peeled it up just a little bit and slid the little balloon piece in there. You'll see me here do it in a moment. I was like, wait a minute, is this going to I realized, is this going to work? No, this is not going to look right. You'll see it here when I flip it over. I'm like, wait, that does not look right. Wait, come on, Kelly, flip it over. There you go. See, it was too far back, and I said, that doesn't look right. So I did fix it. You'll see that here. That's what I did. See, I pulled up the letter, put the little piece in, and that's how I made my balloons. So if you decide to make something like that, where you want to make your own balloon letters, and you're going to stack them high, whether it's 3, 4 high, make sure you add on your final, the top layer, whatever color it is or whatever it is, make sure you add your little points to it before you finish it, because I didn't. I need to really focus on planning cards out better, but my nature is to just fly by the seat of my pants and hope for the best. I knew I wanted to make my daughter a card with these letters into balloons, but I wasn't quite sure what the card was going to look like. I knew what colors I wanted to use, and I knew I wanted the bunny. So this is the end. This is the card. Now here what I'm doing is I'm using some embroidery thread, and I'm making little bows, because I found this is the easiest way to, instead of having just a string go straight down from the balloon letter, I'm adding little bows so it looks a little more polished, a little nicer, a little more realistic. So I made 5 little bows, you saw them there, and I added them to my letters, and then I added the same thread to the back of my letters. And once I had them all together, you see here, I'm just trying to figure out the placement of my letters and where my little bunny's going to go. And I had a difficult time trying to I wanted to wrap those threads around his little hand, his little right hand there. I had a hard time trying to get all those strings around there. So I'll show you here in a moment what I did. Here I'm just going to speed this up. I just added glue to the back of my letters, held that down while it grabbed on, because it was I had the thread on the back of the letters, so I had to add a lot of glue to adhere that down. So what I did was I took a little piece of thread and I tied it around the 5 pieces so it held it, and I put the threads behind his hand, and then I added pieces of thread. You'll see that later on in the video towards the end, and you'll see I added to make it look like he had threads in front, the strings in front of his hands and the back. Now here I'm adding glossy accents. This is my favorite part of the card. I love glossy accents. I use them all the time, and it really makes it look more balloonish. And there's another word I'm making up, balloonish. So it's very important when you use glossy accents or neutral glaze or anything like that to pop any bubbles that may come out. And they do come out, because you may not see them when you're putting it down, but when it dries, the bubbles really show up. So it's important, because right now it's milky, but when the glossy accents dries, it dries clear and the bubbles really are apparent. And here I'm just adding some gems. I sped it up a lot because I'm just, adding some gems, no big deal. I did add some silver gems to make it more sparkly, more vibrant. I tried to make it for, a card that my daughter would like. Sometimes when I'm making a card for a particular person, if I know they would like something, I try to gear it towards what they like versus what I like. This card is a little busy for a card I would normally make, but I know it's something she'll like. And that's the ultimate goal, right? To make a card that someone will enjoy and will make them happy. I'm just adding a little glossy accents to his feet, and here you can see the silver gems I added. And I'm trying to just show you here, these gems are just like kind of mirror, that they look like mirrors. And that's the card. Thank you so much, guys, for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. I'm going to have some more videos coming up, and I'm going to be using these alpha dies as stamps. Stay tuned for that. Please consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. And please comment below for your chance to win a small little giveaway as a thankful for you giveaway from me. I appreciate you stopping by. Have a great day, and I hope you're all staying safe, happy, healthy, and don't forget, stay crafty, my friends.